Here on the left hails from Canada, has been playing Randomizer for about a year so far. Plays every mode except for overworld glitches. Doesn't have an official time in the NMG leaderboard, but he does play it as well. You may have previously found Solski playing Doom, which is a really great speedrun. He's looking to find boots early on and definitely doesn't want to see those flippers early. A big 20 in Link's house, probably not the worst thing ever, but may have wanted those boots instead. You may also be interested to find out that Solski does run retro game shows every week. Thought that was interesting. Alrighty, so early on in the game here, we don't have a whole ton of things to collect. We're going to walk by the uncle who's going to give us a randomized weapon. This is the randomized sword mode, which is what we're running for this tournament format. You can get a whole bunch of different things. You can get cane, you can get bow, you can get bombs, pretty much anything that'll let you finish the escape. Instead, we're going to start with a hammer, though. That's a really nice start. So, hammer does a couple of different things for our runners here. For one, it gives us access to the Dark World almost immediately. As soon as we can get to Kakariko and we have that Moon Pearl, we're in the Dark World. Although we can technically use that portal already. It's also a very powerful weapon. The hammer is equivalent to a tempered sword slash, so finding that early on gives our runners a lot of firepower to work with. And going a little deeper into the Hyrule Castle, we have a lot easier strategies for these guards. You know, we don't have to worry about our magic meter at this point, and every single enemy we come across, with the exception, I believe, of just the ball and chain guard, will be defeatable with one hammer swing, so we're about to be a little overpowered throughout this section. Wow, those flips! Alright, so Solski probably not too happy about that start. He did mention he didn't want to see early flippers, which, in this situation, sure looks a lot like he's going to have to put those to use early. Well, so we have taken care of most of the guards on our way to Zelda. We have a magic boomerang that's almost vanilla, folks, but it is, it's a vanilla with twist, actually. So the twist ice cream cone being a good find here in the escape. I believe that should be most of the items we're going to get in the escape. We could find a map or one of the remaining four items, in this chest with Zelda. Now that we have the hammer, though, it's going to be really nice because, you know, we can finish off this ball and chain guard with relative ease. We're probably not going to have to throw too many pots, because 2 hammer strikes is all it's going to take. Well, we did pick up the small key, so there are still 3 items in the back, and the map. We're not going to need to pick up any other keys. Well, we have everything we needed. We have Princess Zelda in tow. This is looking very much like a vanilla escape, honestly, because of how fast they're getting through this. It's nice to not have to farm a ton of bombs, but so far neither of our runners have farmed bombs. Take it from me, it's very costly if there's something important in the back half of escape, so hopefully our runners remember that they have unlimited ammo with that hammer, and they should be taking advantage of that to pick up a bomb drop somewhere. Well, so if we're playing the vanilla game, normally you have to have the hammer in order to do this part. Thankfully, our devs are crazy good at manipulating the game and making it work the way we want it to. So that's been patched out, actually, here in standard open randomized swords. Sorry, not standard open, but standard randomized swords. You can actually get through that escape with or without that lamp. And it gives you a free light cone as well. You also notice that Solski took a safety heart there. That pot does give you a free one. It's pretty fast to get. So if you're worried about your health at that point, I absolutely recommend picking up that particular pot. Getting some drops here from the Ropa is not too happy about that. No bombs for either of our runners. This isn't good. Well, we're finding a little bit of love in the back half of Escape, but the enemies are not showing any love. Bomb drops, very hard to find. We're going to kill a bunch of rats here, hoping to find at least one. Alrighty, so our key rat has been pretty friendly, and Solski did get a bomb drop. So without that bomb drop, Elpis might be in a little bit of trouble here. We're gonna find. Oh, there it is. All right, so bomb drop's not a big problem here. And let's find out if it was worth. Ooh, just a couple more bombs and a little more health. All right. Alright, so with bombs in tow, we don't need a whole lot more going into Kakariko Village. In fact, these are all the bombs we're going to need to get through Kakariko Village. We may opt to buy more, depending on if we find more, but I think our runners at this point want to avoid spending any rupees if they can. Right now, they're a little short of the bottle merchant, and of course, they're always looking for that 500 to get flippers, and naturally, the 110 you need for Palace of Darkness, so still plenty of rupees to get. So far, not finding a whole lot of value in the Hyrule Castle, though. That hammer is pretty much the best find. Flippers being a close second. Well, early on, we don't have a lamp, we don't have bow. We just have that hammer and flips. We can't do a water walk glitch. There's not a lot of things we can access right now besides Sphere 1. Things that are available to us immediately after escape. We're going to get a check of Lumberjack in a moment, but we're getting looks like a vanilla tier 2 rupee pool because they've killed 4 enemies and not taken and have taken damage. So that is actually what the tier 2 drop would normally be. And the Hoarder also dropping blue rupees. So interesting finds from these runners. Ooh, Mirror is behind Aghanim. There is a very high chance that this is an Aghanim required seed, almost guaranteed.
And hello, everyone.
Welcome, Tara. Thanks for joining me.
Hello, and I already got credit by seeing the mirror there.
Yeah, that's a rip seed. Well, this should be exciting. Have you ever had a mirror there? Have you ever had to go kill Aghanim for it?
No.
Looking kind of crazy already. We do have the hammer, though, so we have a little bit of damage to work with.
Okay. Seems they didn't find much so far.
Yeah, Escape was pretty dry overall. We did manage to get a bomb drop, so both of our runners have checked the back half of Escape, which was worthless. They did find flippers, though, which was interesting. But what you see in the tracker right now is current.
Okay.
But it's time to check Kakariko Village. What does the Thieves' Hut have for us today? Well then. So those are some finds.
Yeah. Hookshot, Moonpile, Shovel, Bottle.
On the bright side, that does give us Sick Kid right away, but the Hookshot and the Moon Pearl, very, very good finds here early on.
Now they just need to find a glove.
Yeah, lift grade sorely needed at this point because there are a lot of things that Hookshot could do for us. Same thing with the hammer, but without that lift upgrade, we're pretty limited. And we have both boomerangs at this point.
The blue one is obviously the better one.
Absolutely, we don't like lag in this game.
Well,
Wow, speak of it and it shall arrive. We found that lift upgrade and the sword.
now they have many options to do.
Well, in this situation, Tara, I mean, besides the Kakariko Village, I mean, where would you head next?
Probably still do the standard thing and check the offshore first. And probably then after Minimoldom heads to the Dark World to Hype Cave and stuff.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that because, you know, if we can do all of Death Mountain at once, that's always going to be the most efficient way to go through it. And if we have those Titans Mitts before then, that's a really hefty advantage. Well, Sick Kid's having an explosive day. Not too helpful for us here. If this is version 18, we would have had an extra bomb out of that, which would have been useful. Well, we'll get a library check next, and probably the race game. Beyond that, though, I have to think a save and quit is inbound.
Yeah. Oh, no, wait, they have to shovel. Probably head into the shovel first.
Ah, good point, and they can route that in the same direction. Solski's, interestingly enough, looking for a bomb drop using that shovel. That's actually a rare use of the vanilla purpose of the shovel. And he finds the 4-drop. Very nicely done.
Just to find out there's more bombs on the race game.
Hey, you know, Tara, it's probably pretty late in the day where you are. Really appreciate you joining me on comms at this hour.
It's only 10 p.m. It's not late, it's early.
That's the spirit. But we're not finding much with the shovel so far, so the fetch quest is a bust so far. You know, just to clarify though, Tara, I do hope that you have better puns than I do, because I'm not bringing much to the table in that regard.
Well, okay.
Well, we do have a Dark World check. Desert was the green pendant. We have Misery Mire as another pendant, and I think it was Skull Woods, is that right?
I believe so, but more important that Swarm Palace is yeah, a crystal, so they need to get the mirror. So Aghanim is required.
Yep, Aga confirmed, folks. So, kind of weird to see when a runner's going to go up there. I mean, we still need either a cape or a master sword, so I have to think they're going to find that pretty quickly. Wow.
Yeah, we have now the full equipment for Aghanim besides the lamp.
So, yeah, just to preempt what I just said. Well, so that mirror being on Lumberjack, and both of our runners do know about that. I have to think you got to prioritize that really fast, don't you?
If they find the boots, yes. But otherwise, I would delay to do Aghanim.
That's a good point. We're going to need those boots for the Lumberjack Cave itself, so our runners, yeah, exactly. They may end up waiting for that. Ooh, nice fairy drop for Solski. Had a heart and a half missing. Good find. Gotta love having that hook shot for the mini Moldorm Cave. Best enemy. Best weapon.
Yeah.
Ooh, and we also find powder in the mini Moldorm Cave. That's a pretty good find.
Yeah, with the current hard count, it's gonna be useful.
And they can check the magic bat at this point because they have the hammer immediately. That was a pretty good weapon to start the seed with. Well, looks like ElpisTK31's contemplating options here. Solski getting punished for the catfish check without mirror. Only going to get a piece of heart from that. Well, I suppose we're getting a different south side check than we had previously discussed. Going to Hype Cave, and then, we've already checked Mini Moldorm Cave. So we're running out of locations that really are accessible for those boots. There is still the eastern area. There's still behind Sahasrla, of course. We don't have flutes, so we do have a limited option of where we can go at this point. Although if they can, do this dark room, they could go up the mountain at this point.
So basically what Solski is doing now.
Well, we know that the lamp can't be behind this unless there's a flute somewhere available in the world, and I think we've checked just about everywhere that we would find the flute in the overworld at this point. Judging by what the screen looks like, it seems like Solski's getting through this no problem.
I'm surprised that Solski is going to Death Mountain. Just too blind. It's crystal, you have the hammer.
Yeah, so it might be just an instance of just trying to check the spectacle rock items here. I mean, this is good intel, but definitely not accessible to us at this point, so very unlikely that we would find the needed progression here. We're just finding a big 20 and some bomb capacity upgrades. We don't have... Well, we do have Cape. I don't think we have enough magic technically to check the Spike Cave, but we're going to go to the east side after that. Well, magic bat check. This would be interesting.
Just a bomb capacity upgrade.
Yeah, the thing that stinks for these runners is they know they have to go to Aghanim no matter what. So, I mean, at this point, it's just trying to figure out, hey, how long should I actually wait? Because, if I end up waiting for the wrong thing, I might end up getting burned by it. Kind of like that fire rod. Wow.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely good to have a fire source. If we decide to go to any of the dungeons that have a dark room, I mean, this is at least one option for several of them. Palace of Darkness becomes a bit easier to do in the dark with the fire rod. We definitely still want that lamp, though.
Yeah, the lamp would make many stuff easier at the moment.
Well, that's almost vanilla. But with that, Elpis has fast shoes, so probably a very welcome find this early in the run. Less than 20 minutes in, we already have our boots, so technically I believe the run can start now, right?
Yes. The one starts now. Ignore the prior 18 minutes. Didn't happen.
Well, we're going to get an Eastern Palace play out of Elpis here now that we have most of what we need. No bow, though, so we will have to come back here if we're going to clear this out completely. And this is a crystal dungeon. Solski, on the other hand, with a big key, is going to hopefully not get... well, he has a fire rod, so he's not going to get fire locked here. Can complete all of Hera.
Good.
Well, having hookshot is really nice here in Eastern Palace. There's a whole room we get to skip. Not a big time save, and we have the boots, so even less of a time save, but feels good to get it.
was a very nice bomb jump from Solski. Doing bomb
Yeah, double
jumps
nice
without
'cause
the
it doesn't have the boots.
Yep. Without the boots, you only have a 2-pixel window.
Well, time to find out if Hammer Strats on Moldorm are going to win the day. Personally, my favorite form of the fight. Do you have a preferred weapon against Moldy Worm?
Every weapon that hurts them.
I like the sound of that. We're not a fan of Moldorm either. That's good. Ooh, Solski's got to be careful. One heart left here.
Good.
Well, we have a crystal advantage for Solski here, but Elpis does have the boots, and that is a exploration advantage. We're going to check Bonk Rocks here, giving us some of our Flipper Rupees for later, and potentially Palace of Darkness, but so far hasn't paid off yet.
Yeah, Solski needs to find the boots very early. Otherwise, he will run behind on time and stuff. But the problem at the moment is that he has so many options. Who knows when he will ever go there to the Haswala.
Looks like we are going to set up for a Death Warp in the basement. I think chat pointed out that we do have a fairy, though, so Solski might be getting a rude awakening after this tower room. In the meantime, though, we're going to get a Waterfall Cave check. This has been in logic pretty early in the seed, but it's not going to have much for us. Wisely dropping the fairy. This is some heads-up play here, but this Stalfos is going to take a couple hugs to knock him down.
Ooh, 0 arrows on the Solar Ledge.
Holy smokes, that's a find. And they have flippers available from Escape, so silver's not a very difficult to find item here.
Yep, but sadly, Elpis doesn't have enough rupees for the Sour King.
That's really rough. But not a complete loss. Those silvers are a great find. I want to say that he already checked Catfish too, or was that Solski?
That was Solski.
So it looks like both of our runners will have to return to northeast of Hyrule. That's interesting, because once they get that mirror, that becomes a better play for, well, either of them to do compared to going back separately like they have already. Oh, by the looks of things, it seems like we're doing a lot of exploration, just making sure we get everything before Aghanim. I can't disagree with that, but at some point, they want that mirror. It's going to make their whole overworld a lot better.
Okay, Solski now training the dam. Soonish.
And so I think he had the right idea about Solski not coming back to Eastern for a while. I mean, without that bow, he doesn't have much reason to visit that area. Oh, good point. Yeah, that's right. We don't have that lamp. We can't even do Hyrule Castle Tower in sequence. So that's a very good point. We're going to be looking for that until we can get to that point.
Just Google some maps from Aghanim's Tower and do it anyway. It's easy.
Yeah, truth be told, not the most difficult dark rooms. They have an ether medallion if they want some lightning to get through it, though. I don't believe that's going to help them too much in that dark room, but there are places in the game where that is nice, and of course, that is one of the 3 medallions we might require, so always a good find. But just to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying about just doing it anyway, the Shia LaBeouf method, of course. It is tournament legal for you to have darkroom maps open and available to you while you're racing. So by all means, folks, if you want to do a darkroom, have that resource available to you. You might as well do it right.
Yep.
You know, I don't think anybody checked Hobo yet.
No. But I guess we will see it soonish from Solski.
Well, let's see what we have for Ice Rod today. Ooh, just a little bit of frozen love, a frozen heart. Not exactly what you want to find in any cave, let alone anywhere in Hyrule.
Or in any person.
Got that right.
Like me. Hello.
Oh, come on, Terry. You don't have a cold heart.
You're right, I don't have one at all. Good. Flippers are nice items. And we don't get to see the hobo, sadly.
They're really expensive, though. I don't know what kind of scuba lessons are offered in Hyrule, but I have to think that they have to be really cheap to compensate. So if I have my guesses right based on what we've seen so far, it seems like Thieves Town should have something important here.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm hard-pressed to think about where else we're going to find something. I mean, Palace of Darkness could technically have something that is available to us. I'm thinking the bow is also a relevant item here, just because we're going to want to complete as much as we can, but hard to say. You know, Tara, there's chat making suggestions that you are a robot. I think it's probably better to call you a task bot, right? I'm going to assume your answer was in binary.
Well, Solski picked up his silver arrows.
But both of our runners do have those silver arrows, so we're not going to have to worry about Silver this Ganon today. Going to have a lot of very powerful ammo to work with whenever we do find that bow.
It seems like Solski is also checking the Bat Cave.
Well, there's no Batmobile back here, but let's see. I believe this was a meaningless item, if I recall correctly, like some heart. Nope, bombs.
So the Bat gave us bomb capacity upgrade.
You know, it is nice though that we have this hammer for the big key chest. I believe we did get the big key, but that could be on blind.
Well, you can't get in this area without the big key. Because there's a big key door in the top right of the 4 large rooms.
You know, running this NMG has really confused me a bit about the original dungeon order, so yeah, thank you for the correction. Well, our runners have known for about 15 to 20 minutes now, or even more, that they have to go to Aghanim. Nobody has made that decision yet, and Mirror would be pretty nice. I have to imagine that there's some important things. Oh, that's right, because we still need that lamp, so yeah, 20 or 30 minutes of searching for it. We're not finding it.
It'd be funny if Solski finds the lamp but never finds the boots.
Certainly a possibility at this point. Not a lot else was, blocked behind those boots that we know of so far. I mean, besides the mirror itself. So he could end up looking for a pretty long time just for the lamp itself and, having to find those boots right before going to Aghanim. He could be very behind from that.
Well, we have at least one item of mobility.
Yeah, that might delay him further, too. That's either a blessing or a curse. Could be both.
Well, it can't really be a curse since he already checked the one location he can check it with. The Death Mountain.
Yeah, good point then. He has no real reason to come back there at the moment, because, yeah, we did check all of Light World Death Mountain, so we should be in good shape there. Unfortunately, without that mirror, he cannot go directly to the bird. He will have to pass go, and he's not going to collect $200 in the process. So, in the meantime, we're going to go to Skull Woods and check to see what is in the back half. We do have that fire rod.
Yep, since he already was on Death Mountain to find them. The fire rod.
Yeah, so that does offer him one possibility of saving some time over Elpis here. That is a nice routing decision on accident. Looks like we're going to get grabbed by the Hand of God to get ourselves out of here, and then take on Mothula. In the meantime, dig game. How many digs is it going to be today? I think it would have been happier for a 5 dig, but we're going to find some Titansmiths back here, and that's a critical dig that we just did here on Elpis's screen.
It was the dig number 12. I like the number 12. It was 12, not 13. I counted from the very first one.
Well, it sounds like it was for good luck in that case, 12 being a very favorable number. According to the commentator, I believe there is such a thing as commentator's blessing. I'm holding out for that to be the truth here.
But they are Titansmiths.
Yeah, it's a huge find, plus those boots. Elpis has a lot of wind at his sails, and there's a lot of places he can check with those Titansmiths, so this is a very interesting find. Dark Death World becomes a possibility if he does find that flute.
And it seems like now he is heading to the Death Mountain.
Yep, so like we said before, this is technically a sequence break. We have the lamp to find still, but we can find the flute in Skull Woods, which Solski just showed us. So with that in mind, Elpis really heading in the wrong direction. That flute would be what would bring him here normally.
That kick is going to use the hammer against Mothula.
Talk about your manly strats, walking right up to his face. That'll be enough for Solski, though, making good use of his weapons here. Wow!
Of course, gets the tempered sword of it.
Well, that's, I mean, probably a little frustrated to get it after the fact, but that is going to be a pendant, too, so, that was a great find. I think a lot of people wouldn't kill Mothula in that situation, but knowing that there's an item there, getting rewarded very well for it. Well, so Flute and Tempered, Solski's got to be feeling like he made out like a bandit through this one.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, he noticed. Good.
So, as for the logic, I mean, what do you actually have to have for Spike Cave? It's one protective item and a bottle, I guess, or a potion, or is it half magic?
I believe so. I think the logic wants you to never really take damage there.
Oh, right, because you have to be able to do everything technically in one-hit KO mode. That's the logic. I forgot about that.
Bumper Cave was only 20 rupees.
Yeah, so that cape not really being too useful for us. It was placed earlier in the seed, so I think our runners may have panicked a bit, but they already knew that they had that mirror to go grab, so at that point, Bumper Cave is really the last important thing to check in relation to that.
I guess we will see Solski entering T-Stone in any second.
Yeah, this should be the last chest in Village of Outcasts for him to check, so with that, and finding the Ether, which we may or may not end up needing, we do actually have, as soon as we activate that flute, we have Misery Mire area to check. So it'd be interesting to see if we check that before we end up going to Aghanim, depending on whether or not we find that lamp. I'm thinking, though, that lamp might just be in Mire area in that hut next to Misery Mire.
Or in Mire South. Who knows? But yeah, Elf is now doing to do that what Solski earlier did, and Solski doing the same as Elpis earlier. Basically.
I'm just trying to think of where else Lamp could be at this point. I think Palace of Darkness can technically have it at this point, and then Misery Mire area, but we can't get into Swamp Palace without that mirror. Skullwoods, is a dud. Turtle Rock's out of the question.
Ice Palace is an option.
Ah, yes. And actually, I think we can get into Turtle Rock, can't we?
If we find Submaya.
Yes, I mean, and then of course, if our medallion's correct, we haven't checked either of them yet, so that'll be interesting to see who checks those first, because that's going to be useful intel if that ether isn't enough. Also, I believe Chad is right. I don't think anybody has checked the hobo yet.
No, nobody did so far.
That'd be a bit of a trip to find it there. I mean, that's like the last place any of these runners want to go to, but I think Solski probably has the advantage with that flute to go check it first.
And he will find the Titan Smith probably right after T-Stone.
And Chad has reminded us that it could be Adzora himself, which would be quite a kick in the teeth to both of our runners.
Let's see for what strategy Elpis goes. Interesting. Making use of the cape.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that, but I mean, you do get a full magic refill at the end of the fight, so I... Oh, no! That hurts. That hurts a lot. Elpis, I'm so sorry. Well, we won't be able to repeat that one with the cape, so we'll see what his backup strategy is here.
I hope at least 3 Master Sword Spins with Pretty Safe is ready.
Yep, it's either that or it's going to be Hammer Strikes, and I think you have the right idea with Master Sword. It's a lot safer and easier to do. You get a lot more distance to work with. Ooh, he gets pushed off the ledge. That's extra rough. Thankfully, didn't fall down the hole right next to him. That would have made things much worse.
One spin. Yeah, that Moldom is not nice today.
Well, here's hoping that Solski here has a better chance with Hammer Strats on blind. I like this.
I wish Solski would stop copying me already. Freaking imposter. That is my strategy.
You know, it seemed a little robotic of him, so I'm glad you bring that up because I wouldn't have realized that otherwise. See, but that's how you know it's an imposter, because he did have to default to his sword. He doesn't have quite the strength that you do, Ter. But it looks like both of our runners have finished their respective bosses, so they're probably feeling a little relieved to get their crystal here.
Yep. No, both runners have 2 crystals.
Kind of hard to really tell who's ahead in terms of progression. I mean, Elvis does have the boots and mitts, but also doesn't have that flute, which might end up being an absolutely critical item.
Yeah, but that mid's advantage will cause nothing, because Solski is going to find it any minute.
Yep, he is heading right for it, so the difference between these runners shrinking very fast.
And now let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12. Yeah, 12.
You know, Tara, I think you do pretty well doing those counting things they do in that show Sesame Street. I think kids would love the sound of your voice.
No. They will get nightmares. Well, hopefully Solski speaks to his best friend. Doesn't seem like it. Now goes back for it.
Not exactly sure what he's trying to find at this point, slashing those bushes. Well, let's see if Pinocchio here has anything. We're bombing him for good luck. You know, Tara, it seems like chat is having some issues with your binary form of counting.
That's their problem, not mine.
I like the way you think.
Solski is probably doing the activating his flute and then maybe blacksmith sequence. Who knows?
Yeah, that is available to him, and it's kind of hard to guess, you know, what you're going to do as soon as you grab that flute. Obviously, we still have, you know, as we mentioned before, Meyer, we have blacksmith, we have all kinds of things around the world, you know, and it's much easier to get there now. So, you know, something like blacksmith and purple chest, probably a lot more favorable once you have this flute.
Yeah, the duck. He can fly.
Elvis not finding anything but a big 20 in the Dizzy Cave. Now that he has the boots, it's no longer a... And it looks like Desert Ledge is a bust. That's also a big 20. Ah, yes, we're going to get simultaneous Dark World checks. Misery Mire area and Dark Death Mountain.
Hmm. Bombos for Maya.
Oh, that's something. We don't have that yet. And of course, there are still a couple of items that we could be trolled by later on in the seed, so there's still a possibility of having to go the long way just to get that pendant dungeon.
I hope Solski is going to the... Huh? Seems good. Go further right? No. Well,
Yeah, he's really juking us here on the comms. I really thought he was going to go pick up Das Boots. Ooh, but Super Bunny Cave had half magic, it looks like.
Quake. Okay.
Well, so now we have a 33% chance of having to still find the one we need for Turtle Rock, but it's definitely comfortable to know that we have 2 of the 3.
Ooh, Solski is going to check Solar King now, I believe. Or maybe, no, maybe he goes into Ice Palace? No? Yes, he goes to Solar King.
I think at this point, it's hard for us to even guess, but what'd you see there on Turtle Rock?
Bombos for Turtle Rock!
Very nice. All right, so we just need that Cane of Samaria in order to get the worst possible troll situation here. In other news, though, we do have a Zora check coming up for Solski. We do have 600 plus rupees, and Elpis can eventually do this whenever he gets back to the light world. In the meantime, I'm going to check Spike Cave.
Nothing.
That's the best 20 he ever did have.
Wow, they really don't find anything at the moment. So Ice Palace or Palace of Darkness?
And of course, it's much less punishing to find that lamp in Ice Palace than to guess that it's at Palace of Darkness and not find it there. So it looks like we're going to make that play first. Ice Palace seems to be a sensible first choice here for Elpis.
If he goes there, I doubt it.
Yeah, anybody's guess at this point. These guys have head in a bunch of different directions and then changed their mind last second, so it's kind of hard to guess on our end. It looks like Elpis is going to troll us again.
We'll also go for the Sora item, just to find nothing.
Dead Rocks really don't want him to make it into Turtle Rock, but he does get up there no problems. Meanwhile, life lesson for Elpis here. Hard to say what he's going to do next. He might save and quit out of that because it's a long walk back.
Yep. There are no items in item store, only 2 small keys and chests.
And there could be a lot of reasons that our runners aren't trying to do lampless. It's not in the logic, so they might be worried about missing something that they would otherwise be locked behind. If you go out of sequence too much, it can be very easy to lose track of what you should and shouldn't be able to access normally. Although you always have your inventory and potentially your tracker, it's just very easy to mess that up.
Elpis buying two blue potions.
Yeah, it's going to be a really great safety. Having those potions is going to make a lot of these more difficult dungeons and potentially dungeons where you'd want to have, say, a bow that's pretty powerful, or maybe if your hammer strats are a little risky. Having that as a backup is really great for the rest of this run. Well, I suppose Book could still prove to be a pretty big troll. I mean, there's several items that could be locked behind that.
Elpis remembers that he doesn't have the mirror at the moment.
Alright, I think it might finally be time for that Ice Palace check.
No, he will go to Hobo.
And Hubris strikes again.
But yeah, Ice Palace or Palace of Darkness. And seems like we will get to see Ice Palace from Solski.
Yeah, that fire rod's a pretty sure tell at this point. Not much else to equip that for here. So it looks like Solski will have the advantage in checking dungeons, because I mean that seems to be, whoever's going to find that lamp first is really ahead at this point. Ooh, Tara, have we checked Agina? I don't think we have.
No, we haven't.
And we've had Flute and Boots available to us pretty early, although each runner has one of each respectively at this point.
Seems like Elpis is going to do the Ice Ward Cave and then maybe Ice Palace.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that both of these runners don't want to miss any possible locations for this lamp. I don't think either of them are feeling too comfortable with their dark rooms, but even if not, it's a good safety decision to make, because if you don't want to place or make your gameplay based on whether or not someone's going to make that dark room gamble, unless it's like a really high value dark room gamble, but they don't have any reason to think that yet. Ooh, our tracker Wolflink pointing out that we've had Titan's Mitts and Boots available to us. That makes King's Tomb on the table. Neither of our runners will be able to check that, though.
What?
Oh, no, Elpis does have Boots and Titan's Mitts, so Elpis could be the one to find Lamp there, but he's going to opt to check Ice Palace first.
Of course Ice Palace can have lamp, why not?
Yeah, nothing here stopping us from finding it in Ice Palace, although it is a bit of a sore note for our runners, because that's a lot of checking that they don't want to have to do in this dungeon, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Terry, I gotta ask you, actually, I forgot my question. Never mind. I'll come back to that.
Okay. But yeah, I love Ice Palace.
Oh, by the way, I have you to thank for the strategy I used against Cold Stare, the Sword Beam strat. I saw you do that first in a tournament race, and I've been copying ever since.
I do not approve.
I mean, I didn't die in any of my tournament races, so I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, okay, But yeah, I love Ice Palace. It's a really cool place where you can do cool bomb jumps and stuff. And also cool tricks like the sport beam you mentioned. Thread on Cold Stare.
It's a good thing that we have half magic, though. We don't have to worry about, having to have bombos to keep some magic through that fight. Of course, we can do it with full regular magic anyway, but always nice to have that bombos just in case. But half magic will do for now. I'm wondering what else we might find here, though. Oh, I remember what else. Oh, wow.
No, it's not that cool anymore.
Yeah, warmed up a bit. Well, so we have the light. We know where we need to go, but this is a crystal dungeon still. And wow.
No, it's cool again. Okay, more like freezing than cool.
Fire and Ice Palace, apparently. So there's a certain brand out there that probably benefits from this coincidence, but... yeah, the question I was going to ask you before, though, what's your most favorite bomb jump?
Most favorite bomb jump? None. I hover all the places.
Truly a legend, folks. Truly a legend.
Just kidding. The hammer jump.
Someday, sometime, I will eventually learn how to hover that. That's the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. Whoa! And yet another blue item in here. So that Cane of Burma going to be a very nice safety to have. We have a lot of health, though, so probably not as important as it normally would be, but that does make things a little safer throughout some of these more dangerous rooms.
Seems like Elpis is going for full... Okay, no. He still needs to check the right side. I forgot.
Yeah, so it looks like both of our runners made great decisions to come to Ice Palace. I mean, this has paid off pretty well already. There is still that elusive bow, though.
Yeah, and Solski could do the sport beam strats, but I think he don't need to with fast magic.
Yeah, absolutely not. Completely unnecessary at this point.
Huh? He snuck a little sport beam in there.
Oh, some very nice button mashing, and that's it for Cold Stare.
But yeah, Solski needs to find the boots soon. Very soon.
Yeah, because otherwise he has no reason not to go to Aghanim right now, so... now, he can do that first. There's no harm in doing so, but he might end up searching for boots in some wrong places if he ends up, beating Aghanim first. That's extra tough, though, to not have the bow at this point, because there's a lot of reasons he wouldn't want to go back to Eastern. By the looks of things...
This is looking good. Yes, Solski, do it, do it. Yes.
Stay on target, stay on target.
Yes, yes. Please do not turn right. Good.
Well, that is fantastic news for Solski. This is the one thing he needs the most just to progress throughout the entire race. Of course, the mirror, for those of you who didn't tune in until just now, is behind Lumberjack, so we needed those boots very badly. We're getting some emotional slashes out of Solski here. It looks like we have some feelings on that one.
Yeah. Please, flute, flute, flute. Good. And he's going straight to Aghanim.
Well, so far so good though for Solski. Elpis is still a little behind in Ice Palace and has all of the items that Solski has for the most part. Hasn't done Mothula to get that flute though, so Solski should have a pretty hefty advantage going through this, Castle Tower. Certainly nice to have that Tempered Sword. Well, in the meantime, Elpis will take on Cold Stare as we see some really nice Hyrule Castle strategies from Solski having plenty to work with here. Well, Taylor, when was the last time you saw an Ether in that room?
Never. Because I don't waste time. Neither should ever players.
No holds barred on the mic today, folks. Looks like Elpis opted to use that blue potion, one of the two that he bought here in the Cold Stare fight. Not a lot of places where that magic refill comes more handy. So while he probably could have done it with the Master Sword, playing it safe, I agree with that. Also, everybody here at home should know that Aghanim's Tower is not going to have any items, but that will get us the mirror. It looks like Elpis is going to make the same play, so our runners are actually relatively close to each other. Solski having that huge advantage, though. I mean, that flute is a great thing to have right now.
Since he already could check Checkerboard Cave anytime. So I'd say finally uses the Fire Rod like he should do at the Golden Chain Ball and Chain God.
Yeah, Fire Rod's a really overpowered weapon. You're going to see it on Elpis' screen here. I mean, one hit KOs, and it doesn't use much magic with that half magic. So, yeah, I mean, in Hyrule Castle Tower, if you have it, by all means abuse it. You will get a magic refill after defeating Aghanim, so there's no reason not to deplete it all.
Yep.
Gotta love the unnecessary fire dash there. Well, folks, an hour and 3 minutes in, and we are finally fighting Aghanim.
One blue ball. Two blue balls.
Solski finding out that you cannot actually reflect the lightning attack.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that is 4 so far, so not too much good luck here.
We will see. If he dies now, it's gonna be 3. Yeah, it was 4.
And of course, the luck is not a factor here. This RNG is set from the beginning of the seed, so we're going to have pretty much the exact same fight out of Elpis here. Well, so Solski checks the bonk rocks, only finding 300. Elpis taking care of the Aghanim fight, getting those blue balls. Interesting to see. Yeah, so Solski will head right for Lumberjack Cave, obviously knowing exactly where he needs to go. Well, about an hour after our runners found out about this mirror, we're finally collecting it.
Feels bad, man. Let's see what he's gonna check first. Seems like the blacksmith sequence.
Certainly a lot nicer to do with the mirror in hand, so I agree with the decision as well. Here's hoping he doesn't pull a me and tries to bring a follower to the dig game. Oh, we already got Thieves Myth, or Titan's Myth from there, so we don't have to worry about that. But it's a good thing that neither of our runners made that mistake today. Oh, a divergence from what we expected. So we're going to get a North Dark World check here.
Yeah. But you should rush Swamp Palace, in my opinion.
Yeah, there are a ton of items there, so I think it's 6 total, right?
Could be possible.
Also, King's Tomb, not too valuable here.
Okay, the first of 3 mirror overworld locations. Nothing.
There is always K45, and that is looking like an appealing check now that we still have Blacksmith and Purple Chest to consider. Certainly going to take a lot less time for Solski to get around. Elpis, still without that flute, has to kind of route everything through the overworld, trying to find convenient locations to get back and forth from light and dark. You know, I think we still haven't had a Naginas check. I mean, that has been available to us for a very long time. It'd be a crying shame if that was where the bow was. Chat's asking about whether a book can be on pedestal. It is possible, as far as I know. Tara, do you know otherwise? But yeah, so to the best of my knowledge, I don't believe there's anything preventing book from being on bow. I think it's just a paradox pedestal. Ooh, but Elpis will find that flute, so this really helps to even things up for him. This was probably the one thing he was sorely missing the most over Solski. Yeah, we did get a check for Checkerboard Caves, so we know that that doesn't have it, though. Well, let's check Cave 45, see if we find something nice in here.
Let's hope so. Nothing.
Yeah, we certainly don't need lunch money at this point. We have everything we need. We do have a lunch box, so let's see what Solski has packed for lunch today.
Probably something unhealthy.
Sounds about right. Who really has time to pack a healthy meal these days anyway? And the moment of truth.
See, something unhealthy.
Only a piece of the heart. We need the whole thing for that to be a healthy find. Looks like Solski's going to make the choice that you were talking about, going into Swamp Palace. I like this play. And it looks like Elpis isn't really all that far behind him. Very close, but he's going to go a different direction, though. I think he's going to go grab that purple chest, which he may not have grabbed yet.
Seems like it. But yeah, there needs to be progression in Swamp Palace or Palace of Darkness. Or even Desert is no option with the mirror.
Yeah, so there is a lot of places we can find our bow, and I think bow is going to be the big one here. Bombos is still an important item to find because we still need it for Turtle Rock, but that is possibly something we can hold off on for a while, being that we would probably want to do that going into Ganon's Tower. Though, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to find Bombos here in Swamp. This is a pretty dense location for items. Well, Elpis is not going to find much of anything here at Blacksmith or the Purple Chest. Potentially has 3 pieces of heart, but that's about the only value he's going to find out of that lunchbox. In the meantime, though, Solski does grab the key early on. It looks like he might be heading to the back half, but we'll check the chest south of the main hub room because that is very closely accessible. And actually, Hookshot does make it a little quicker.
Yeah. Just a burrito.
Yeah, definitely not packing much for a healthy lunch, no matter where he's going. I mean, he's got like a heart piece that's not even going to heal him. He's got, a burrito for lunch. This guy might end up with some bad gas by the end of the seed. Finding a lot of burritos.
Seems like that Elpis also going to do Swamp Palace after the Purple Chest.
Would be a fantastic time to have a book, but we are not going to be able to check that Bombos tablet for a while, it seems. Magic Bat was a 5-bomb upgrade. Well, Chad is pointing out that we have not rusted the key. Thankfully, we didn't send it under the deep blue sea, so we are clear on that. We're going to get through the rest of Swamp Palace here in the left half with absolutely no problems. Remains to be seen what we're going to find, but having that hook shot makes things much easier, a lot less backtracking.
Yep. Let's see if the left side of Swamp pays off.
I'm sensing a little bit of healthy skepticism on finding something on the left half here.
Well, at least the big key.
Yeah, that's convenient for routing. Obviously not an item in of itself, but we don't want to have to come back through here, through the central hub. And we could, of course, in other scenarios, possibly find it in one of the chests back there. But this just removes extra backtracking. Very nice to find it before going back.
300 rupees.
I think that's almost all the 300 drops.
Seems like it.
But there are a few items to check back here. We're going to have 2 chests to the south of the room that Solski's about to enter, and then 1 to the north. I don't think he's found the compass yet in this dungeon, so that is also of consideration here.
But hopefully they will find something here. Like that.
Well then. Well, that cuts our go mode count down by 2, or by 1 item, the bombos being an important one to find, because there's now the possibility of finding whatever items we need still in one of those medallion dungeons, including Misery Mire. I don't know, Tara, in this situation, do you check Misery Mire before going to pod?
That is not really a question. Just think about it.
I just, like the gamble of the bow. I mean, I have seen a vanilla hammer in Palace of Darkness, so I mean, it's not surprising to me if there's, something important there, but I mean, this is a rough spot to be in as a runner. And then, of course, there is still that possibility of a pedestal bow.
No. When I'm commentating or racing, there's never a pedestal.
So you've been in the Matrix and have coordinated the seeds to make sure that is never an occurrence. Either that, or you have clairvoyance and a time machine and doing some timey-wimey stuff. So greatly impressed by that, Tara. Also, do you want to highlight Solski there for using Ice Rod strats in Argus? I have never seen that, and that's actually a really smart heads-up thing to do. Fire Rod might be a little bit faster, though, so maybe just doing it for swag.
You wasted time. Use Fire Rod.
Well, so that's 2 things that Tara hasn't approved of on Solski's screen so far. Really not happy about the Ether in Hyrule Castle Tower, and that Ice Rod. I think we're both on the same page on that one.
At least he remembers Checkerbot Cave.
Well, I think that's about 350s we found so far. So, yeah, about that amount. Misery Mire looking a little more appealing, and it looks like we're re-entering that portal. So, Solski's also going to check Agina's, though. That's something we have not done yet.
Would be funny if the bow is here.
I'm almost like thinking, hey, it's got to be, because it's very rare that you don't find out where it's going to be. I mean, bow is pretty early in most seeds, but the late bow troll does strike back a lot. So, here's hoping.
So, seems like he's going to Maya.
It's come to this, and hopefully, I mean, I'm just crossing my fingers. Obviously, it's a waste of time, but I'm hoping that he mirrors so that he can get a bird toss in. That'd be cool. Oh, but he's bombosing, so there's no bird toss today. Ah, man.
Just used the Ether before Bombus.
There you go. We'll waste time yet again. I would be impressed to see Solski do it for the memes, but he is in a tournament race after all. He's going to check Desert right away.
Yes, smart decisions and 2 items here.
And of course, if it is one of those pedestal seeds or even just a green pendant required seed, this is a great opportunity to check that. Burrito on the torch, they're keeping it under a heat lamp, it looks like, to keep it fresh. I don't think Link wanted that, though. Always got to watch out for those convenience store burritos. Those heat lamps are not up to code. Also, we're definitely going to find the big key back here, I have to think. And also either an item or the one remaining dungeon item. Either that or Lamolis has it. You know, Tara, don't you really love having Mirror in this palace?
Yes, when you come from the back entrance. Makes traveling so much faster in here.
Yeah, definitely an advantage that this randomizer has over NMG. I feel very jealous all the time, but we're getting some fast slashes out of Elpis here, not wanting to do menu Argus, which I don't blame him for. But this is a pretty slow fight.
Going to finish East Desert.
Yeah, it seems like a sound play to me. I mean, I would much rather not have the green pendant bite me in the behind afterwards. But we will get a pretty fast fire rod kill from Elpis, so we've had fire and ice rods against our bosses here. You know, interestingly enough, Solski will have that sword advantage until Elpis finds the fourth sword, because I really can't see why he would go to Mothula unless he finds out the pedestal's required.
Yeah.
Which, of course, chat, we do not know yet if you're just tuning in. We still have not determined whether or not the pedestal has anything of value.
I hope
Ooh,
not.
real close.
Just a red rupee.
Well, Tara, I have to think that you like that boss kill a little better, despite not being a zero cycle.
Can you even zero cycle Molas?
Or, I'm sorry, one cycle, you're right. House of Big 20s west of Misery Mire, so both of our runners have a decision to make, and it looks like they might make the same one here. Oh, yeah, we're going to get Desert Palace first out of Elpis. That makes sense.
Solski aiming for the pedestal. I don't like this decision.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hefty time sink, but it seems like he's counting on not finding that bow in Palace of Darkness. Now, if Elpis makes the decision to go into Pod, that would be an advantage for him.
Yeah, one of them should already had there, since Ken of Samaya is highly likely there.
Well, Tara, do you think it's the coveted Godmire today?
No.
And it's not like he was routing it for that anyway, so rip the dream.
Just a compass.
And of course, the very worst thing that can happen to Solski here is finding a vanilla big key, because that's probably the last place most people would check. And then, of course, we know that the cane can't be here, so it's probably going to end up double dipping this if he ever has to clear it. Actually, I'm not sure. Is there a reason that Kane can't be here?
Kane can be here. Well, now he will find probably another item or map.
Well, so drugs and Meyer, that's an interesting find. I mean, because that could send us on a goose chase, but Solski probably not willing to make that, play until he's found everything he can in here. Because this is not a fun double dip. But Elpis is also going to join him.
Yeah, I was hoping for the King of Samaya here.
Well, so, yeah, some interesting finds so far, but we're still looking for that bow. Well, it looks like Chad is really wishing for that fetch quest. I don't know. At this point, I feel like that's a more of a blessing than a curse for Solski, who doesn't want to be spending all of his time here in Misery Mire, but he will get every single item he can. He's not going to leave any stone unturned here.
Solski, what are you doing? Stop this. Now. No. Good, he sees it.
I have the wisdom to check his inventory. A mistake I can definitely say that I've made. Well, it seems like a lot of folks are hoping to find that bow at Laser Bridge, but we still have a chance here with the powder.
Nothing.
Nothing but bad news for both of our runners. Solski will take an opportunity to grab some extra potions, though. Smart decision. Well, we've done our drug deal, selling a quick 20 bag for that for the mushroom. Not a lot of places to check, and looks like Solski's going to default to Palace of Darkness finally. Thankfully, not grabbing that, or not worrying about the pendants at this point. Doesn't have that cane.
Yep. So, Cane of Samaya and Palace of Darkness. Let's go.
It certainly looks that way at this point.
Unless they find the book and needs to head out again.
Ooh, and the green pendant check. Probably Sankart, but we don't know. Well, Chad is rightly pointing out that we do not have the Rosetta Stone version for Hylia, so without being able to speak or read Hylian, our runners are going to have to guess as to whether or not that pedestal's got something important. But if we find the cane here in Palace of Darkness, that is a much greater possibility than otherwise.
So, Palace of Darkness. Don't go left. Good.
I'll tell you, this is probably the most confusing dungeon for an NMG runner because it just feels so strange going through the dungeon in different ways. But interesting thing, we might see a check of the right half of Palace of Darkness because we don't have that bow, and we could use the camera manipulation glitch, which is tournament legal in this tournament, to get past those mimics. And it looks like Solski's doing just that.
Yep, since you talked about it.
So for folks who haven't seen this glitch, we're going to take advantage of the fact that mimics can still be manipulated while you're moving the camera and using a potion. So what we do is we desync the camera, and you can see on Solski's screen that it's not working properly. The game uses this room to detect whether or not the enemies are alive or not, and if you bring them off camera, the door will actually just open. This is a relatively recent find, actually.
Yeah, the application of this, the glitch himself, not. I believe.
Well, it was great to talk about, but we didn't get much for it.
Yep.
But yeah, for folks in chat who are a little confused by that, that is a minor glitch. For the tournament's sake, it has been determined to be, tournament legal, so that is something you can do. That is official. There are tutorials out there for it. Check the Discord if you're in this tournament to get some more details. We had some discussion about this recently.
And to give a very simple explanation of it, you run against the wall and drink a potion, and you are done with the glitch.
Tara over here prefers the simplicity, and I can't disagree. Well, Solski has already checked these mirror locations, so we are very much in the lead right now. If Kane is here in Palace of Darkness, but we're running out of spots where it could be. I'm thinking, here in the Dark Maze, this looks like just about it.
Still nothing. Still nothing.
Big key chest type. Come on. Ah.
No.
So where does that leave us?
Go back in. No, wait. No, you can leave.
I'm at a loss as to where we're gonna find this. Both of our runners have. Oh, they didn't have lamp before. I don't recall if Elpis actually made it all the way to the big key room when checking this, or was it Solski who came in here earlier? Yeah, it was Elpis.
Yeah, it was Elpis.
Well, if he didn't go to the big key room going through that dark room, this would be huge. Potentially Vanilla Bow.
I'm just thinking about if there's something else they have missed to check. But I don't recall anything at the moment.
Yeah, as far as Overworld goes, I really can't think of anything we missed here.
And no, the last chest who Solski didn't check is probably just a small key. And our tracker confirmed that Elpis was in here but stopped before the big key, big chest.
Well, stay tuned, folks. We may have a very interesting Eastern Palace and possibly some rage slashes on the left side. I'm sure we'll see some delayed ones from Elpis later then, if this is the case. Now, Chad, of course, always wishing for the worst-case scenario. If we do find Kane here, that still makes the pedestal bow a possibility. Really hoping not, but,
Don't even mention it.
Well, we have a ton of health and blue mail. I have to think that the damage boost strategy is a good thing to do in this room.
Perfect. Not so
Ooh,
perfect.
that was a nice hook dash. Moment of truth, folks. So the library south of town is actually just an appellate library, a small library used to store the books. Apparently the most important ones are in Eastern Palace, though. So, I mean,
So-
Tara, at this point, do you check the pedestal or you just go for those tablets?
I'll just check the tablets. Who cares about the freaking pedestal?
I gotta think, though, if you don't find it at these tablets. Well, this is absolutely bad news for Elpis, though. Unless he decides to mirror directly into Eastern Palace, which he might do after he finishes these last few chests.
Oh, that's possible that he will do it. Solski, you need to use the book, not the mirror. Thank you. Now go to Death Mountain.
Single rupee, a little bit of an anticlimactic find there on the Bombos tablet, so we still have Ether tablet to work with.
But yeah, who cares that the chat cares about the pedestal? I don't. I only care about this race. Also, Elpis also showing us that nice glitch.
And so the thing about that, too, is you'll notice that they're trying to push him against the skull pot there because the red mimic moves a little faster than the green mimic. So it's kind of hard to line them up if you don't do that.
Well, there's Arcane.
That does raise an interesting possibility, folks. There seems to be
no
a
pedestal.
chance that we're going to find either a laser bridge or a pedestal,
No.
and Solski's going to make the Turtle Rock gamble.
No pedestal. Turtle Rock, as always.
Well, this gamble has already cost him getting dead rocked on the way to Turtle Rock. Well, we do have everything we need to get into Turtle Rock. We have that Cane of Samaria. Where do you think it's going to be in Turtle Rock, Terry? You seem very intent on this one.
Somewhere.
I truly think that the second to last item on Laser Bridge is the best troll because a lot of people will, kind of muscle memory to the back when they get that bombable chest. But that does give the chance that we'll mess up the Laser Bridge skip, but we do have Mirror Shield. So yeah, it's irrelevant. It's going to be anywhere in here.
Good.
Ooh, our tracker has a very sadistic mind, suggesting that it's going to be a mimic cave. That would be, that'd be such a terrible find.
That was interesting, Solski.
Yep, his frustration possibly cost him a little bit there, but he's going to Fire Rod it instead this time just to make sure that Blue Jelly doesn't give him a bad day.
Good. We will now see a burner dash.
Ooh, very nice. That just looks awesome.
But he's wasting magic.
Alright, well, Elpis is probably not too happy to not find a cane in that chest. Clearly hoping for it to be there. Let's see what he does next.
Seems he remembers that he still has an item left in Eastern Palace.
Yeah, it's good to see that he's checking it, because that would be quite a time sink if he didn't. On the bright side, though, Solski can use the powder here to kill 4 anti-fairies, turn them into fairies. He's got plenty of health regen in this dungeon.
Did he find the big key? Just wanted to say. Good, he remembers.
Yeah, minor tactical miscalculation, but didn't end up making a mistake to use the wrong door there, so... but we'll get his full refill, we'll have a Pokey to kill here, and we'll see what's in the vanilla big key chest.
Well, the vanilla big key.
Meanwhile, Elpis is not too far away from that book. Interesting to see what kind of reaction we're going to get out of Elpis. One of the nice things about A Link to the Past, folks, is you can be pretty expressive with your character. These movements do look pretty distinct based on player to player, so we'll find out if there's going to be some rage slashes, some save and quits, some, wall hugs, maybe some bonks. Certainly has to feel very behind at this point.
I bet we will see no reaction at all. Yeah, just carries on.
I'm hoping so too, because Elpis needs every frame he can get at this point. He's got a pretty hefty disadvantage over Solski here.
Let's see. Yeah, no reaction at all.
Wise decision. He is going to save his frames here and going to head directly, hopefully, to check those tablets. Or maybe not. Not exactly sure what to do with this book. Ooh, a pedestal check. Well, Chad, it's the moment of truth. What are we going to get from this pedestal? We're going to find out. I'm pretty sure I know what my co-commentator wants to see or doesn't want to see, but this is either big or break for Elpis right now.
Yeah.
Now, if it was a pedestal seed, then we probably would go check or finish Mothula, so he would get a sword back into his favor. But then again, it's kind of a lose-lose. If he doesn't find something important on the pedestal, he's probably not going to get that sword upgrade. He would have some time advantage on Solski, though, for having Solski having actually finished the dungeon. Interestingly enough, though, for him to go actually check, the rest of Skull Woods, there's a pretty decent chance he's going to finish off Mothula anyway. Because there is an item there.
Ooh. So let's keep falling down.
Well, our other moment of truth. Is it on Trinex? Oh, that's right. There had to be a small key there. Thank you for the reminder. Well, it could be the fabled Trinex bow. It could be the fabled bow pedestal. Let's find out. The Master Net.
As I said, it's not on pedestal.
Well, so in the vanilla lore style of the game, I mean, you would normally go to the Master Sword before Aghanim. I suppose that does look like the Bow of Truth is going to be here at Trinex, though. Otherwise, I'm not sure where else it would be. I suppose it could be on Vitreous, right?
No. Twinex has it.
Ooh, and Solski almost getting denied that too.
See?
And there you have it, folks.
As I said, it's somewhere in Turtle Rock.
And at an hour and 45 minutes and 30 seconds, Solski is the first one to enter Go mode.
Exactly. No, he just needs to finish up Eastern Palace on Palace of Darkness.
Which is very handy to be able to route those together. Elpis here has quite a deficit to make up at this point. You know, though, that being said, though, we're looking at a Turtle Rock of a difference here. I mean, there's a lot of things that Solski could do wrong to fall behind, but it sure seems like his race to lose at this point.
Yeah. Solski losing now is now pretty impossible, in my opinion.
Yeah, at this point, Elpis probably has to do a menu Trinex in order to get Hammer Strats off, because without that Tempered Sword, it's a much more difficult game for him to play.
Good use of Samaya. Since he needs it now.
And of course, our fresh and crispy bow is going to come to use very quickly. It is good for Elpis to be heading straight for this tablet, but that pedestal check not going to be a great thing for him. So he knows that he's going to find his progression here. Immediately going to go into Turtle Rock. There's no way that, you know, Vitreous has it. Although that would be the ultimate troll is if you decided to check Vitreous first.
But he is also heading to Turtle Rock. Good.
Ooh, that was a really nice looking turtle room.
Yeah, that was a good turtle room. It didn't get screwed up by SWAT beams.
Well, for those of you who don't know, it's 17 hammer smacks on the face of Helmasaur King here to knock off the face mask. You can also do 4 bombs, but after that, with the Tempered Sword, it's just going to be a small handful of swings. Potentially some hammer swipes if Solski's feeling bold. He has the health to do it. But we're going to opt for that Silver Arrow.
Very boring.
But it is reliable. It does 100 damage for those at home who don't know about the damage tables. Well, certainly a much smaller reward from those from Helmasaur King getting those blueberries. But I do want to take the moment to remind chat. I mean, these runners have put on an excellent show for us today, and we still have a little bit more left in this race. But by all means, if you love what you saw, please give these runners a follow, as well as following all of the speed gaming channels and the Link to the Past randomizer 1 through 4 to stay tuned and keep up on this tournament. We are only in the 3rd week. We're starting the 3rd week of the Swiss. And this will be a packed schedule for the next month and a half as we get into the actual elimination bracket.
Yeah. Solski missing.
Yeah, those
Of course.
silver arrows are punishing because they cause a lot of lags, so you really don't want to miss an arrow with those. I like that Elpis is using Fire Rod on these Pokies. Pokies are a really annoying enemy, and Fire Rod's the most clean way to deal with them.
Yep. It's gonna probably faster than using 2 spins from the Master Sword.
Wow, that Zelda Gamer Room on Solski screen. Game just did not want him to advance. And of course, with these silver arrows, this is going to be trivial. He's going to try a really fast strategy. I like to see that, setup, but didn't pull it off, unfortunately.
Yep, he failed.
And the rare meme strats against Armos using a Fire Rod that you almost never see. That was kind of crazy.
Wasting more time.
Yeah, folks, if you need a randomizer coach, Ter here is going to remind you at all times when you're wasting time. I would actually greatly appreciate that. Ter, do you mind being in my corner for my next match?
That would be a waste of my time.
Ooh, ouch. So, Ter making the good point and proving that he would actually make for a great coach in that regard, rightly pointing out that would be a waste of his time. I think I walked into that one.
And no, I'm not great at teaching people.
Yeah, to be fair, I did steal that one strat from you, so...
Oh yeah, did we start a game?
Yes, so you folks know exactly what's going on here. We have 22 chests to check here in Ganon's Tower, and Solski is on his way to be the first to check them. So, for those of you who haven't done this before, we want to make a guess as to which chest that big key will be in. There are 22 locations. If you are a subscriber to Speed Gaming or a supporter of 250 bits or more, you can enter into our leaderboard, but everybody, please participate. We always like to see who's going to be the one to guess it either way. That's just for fun to record on a leaderboard. No big deal there. But get your checks in. We only have a little bit of time left. Ter, where do you think it's going to be?
Number 12.
Number 12, I like it. I'm a fan of Bob myself, so regardless of the route, I think Bob will have our chest. But I suppose if it's Dark Magician, I think that's 14.
I don't know.
I'm bad at counting. And then, of course, Elpis fans out there probably hoping for the 22 in Tyler Room and that he would actually check that first, but that's a bit of a long shot.
Okay, number 1 and 2, nothing so far.
Almost vanilla red mail, gotta love to see that.
Number 3, also nothing.
Yep, so I don't believe boots were technically required this seed. Oh, they were. Absolutely they were. The mirror. Never mind. I'm an idiot.
Good.
I appreciate that you gave me a second to correct myself, though. We're holding back a little bit in the savagery and terror. I do appreciate that.
I'm busy counting.
Clearly not wasting time. I really like this co-commentator, folks. Please send him a follow as well. He's a good guy.
No.
So that's 7 so far, right?
Yes. Number 8 coming up. Nothing.
Well, on the bright side, we have plenty of keys to work with. This is not great news, though, as far as trying to find this big key. Pretty nice use of the boomerang, though. I'd like to see some NMG strats in here.
Yep. Number 9 is just another red rupee.
Seems like we got some
bombs.
bomb drops here. Solski letting Gans Tower know what he feels about it. Let's see what 10 through 13 have for us.
10 red rupee, 11 red rupee, 12 blue rupee, 13 bombs.
Wow, that's not a very fun room. I mean, there is the possibility that Solski here is trying to actually do a menu skip later, I guess, with dropping his bombs. I mean, does that... I'm not familiar with menuing in that situation. I don't even think that would do any good to him. In the meantime, though, Elpis here is in menu Trinex, trying to do those hammer strats. He will find that bow if he can pull this off.
And 14 is 100 rupees.
Ooh, interesting. Elpis decided to use all of his magic to finish off the ice head using just fire rod shots. I don't see that too often, but that's pretty cool to see.
So 15 is coming up. 16, 17.
Uh-oh, chat.
Not looking good.
So on the right side, we're going to find out. Well, on the right side of the screen, you have Bo, but on the right side of Gan's Tower, Solski's about to find out where that chest is. And I don't know. I mean, at this point, do you gamble on the tile room?
No, never.
Nearly 2 hours in at this point. I mean, I don't even know what's going through these runners' heads at this point. They've gone through so much. Elpis probably hates his life right now. May have questioned every decision he's made in his life to lead to this point. I certainly would be. Well, the ped might be dead, but the tile room is still smiling at your room. There's still a chance. Ooh, nice NFL kicker strats there with the punt.
18, 19.
Well, folks, 19 it is. If you guessed, you win the grand prize of, I don't know, a little bit less disapproval on our end, I guess. I actually am not too happy about anybody who won today because I will be pushed further down the leaderboard, so good on you if you got it. If you didn't, sorry. But 19 is going to be our big key today. And congrats to Nifboy. Well, with that, Solski only has to go up Gan's Tower and take on the pigs, so this is potentially another 7 or 8 minutes for him, depending on how Gan's Tower goes. Elpis quite a bit behind because of the lack of that book, and that book is really going to come back to bite him. In fact, he probably was ahead for a significant portion of this seed, having the Titan's Mitts and Boots, but having not completed Eastern Palace really came back to bite him.
Yeah. That book ruined everything.
Wow, I think Solski went for the 1 pixel in between those spikes. I don't even know if that's possible. Can you walk through there?
Of course.
I think I need to be a little bit more robotic to stand a chance of competing with you on that one. That's like some task-perfect inputs, in my opinion.
Ooh, missing the fire rod shot on the red Starfuss.
I didn't even know that could miss. I thought that was pretty much a guarantee.
Well, it's Solski. I'm not surprised by anything.
Ooh, but really nice one-cycle Lamolus. Perfect arrow placements. Didn't waste any time. The only way he could have done that better is to be pretty much point blank, which would have reduced the lag. But, I mean, that's as good as it gets, really. In the meantime, Elpis has the Helmasaur King fight and still has to deal with Armos. So while that is pretty fast, I mean, this is an entire Ganon's Tower difference here. Although he does have quite a lot of health to work with, so Helmasaur King, not a big problem here. Solski, on the other hand, doesn't have a lot of magic, so he's going to have to resort to Lamp Strats. Might have been able to pull off the Fire Rod if he had grabbed all the magic first, but not a problem. This will still get him through.
Yep. Let's see if he's gonna... Yep, picking up the magic.
Good, safe thing to do in that situation. Probably will still pick up the other magic refill before Moldorm 2, just because, you know, have as much as you can going into Ganon. Although with, you know, silvers, it's probably not even necessary.
But... getting his life and magic refill. Wasting
Yep, also
time
known
by...
as last gas station before Ganon.
Yep, and wasting time by an open unnecessary chest.
Yeah, I gotta wonder if he just wants that 19th heart. I mean, what else is there to check at this point? Maybe a gold sword, but kind of unnecessary. Ooh, and the vanilla Big 20. I love it.
Yeah, wasting more time on Moldorm 2 chest.
I think it's even better that it's vanilla, though. A lot of people don't realize that that chest in the original game is a 20 rupee drop, which, you know, I mean, I always wondered why Nintendo would put that there. I mean, what are you supposed to, like, mirror out of the Ganon fight to go get a potion or something?
Probably.
But then again, it is a hookshot location, so maybe they just put that in there not knowing what else to put in there. Ooh, that was almost a 3-cycle out of Solski if it weren't for that blue ball. In the meantime, Elpis is going to take on Armos, so truly one Ganon's Tower behind at this point. Now, of course, Solski has all the equipment in the world. It would take quite a miracle for Elpis at this point to catch back up.
Yep. Solski now fighting the final fight against the boar.
Ooh, he's going to get a second cycle here, but has actually very favorable positioning for the fire cycle in the second one. Not as nice as top right, but definitely very doable.
Phase 3.
And looks like he's going to go for that torch glitch anyway. And that'll set him up for a triple, hopefully.
No.
But that will do it, so he will be able to pull it out from there. Well, of course, GG to Solski. Looks like we're going to get an official Speed Racing TV time for him here at 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 49 seconds. GG.
GG indeed.
Well, we'll definitely try to get Solski in here for an interview. I think he might already be in the server. In the meantime, Elpis has done everything necessary, has all of the items, going to head right to Gan's Tower. In grand scheme of things, not that far of a difference between these runners for what the seed has given us. But I think that Triforce message, I don't know what I think about that one. That's not my feeling I would have, but I bet Solski's probably feeling something like that.
Yeah.
And it does look like Solski will join us in just a moment, so we'll have him here with us in just a second. But in the meantime, Elpis has seen the dot done at this point. Looks like they're going to try to finish the seed being this close, so I greatly appreciate seeing that. But this is fantastic news for Solski. Solski will come up to 2-1 with this victory, so that's going to be really great for his tournament hopes. Obviously, wanting to get to 5 and something at the best. 5-2 would be the ideal. On the bubble, you're in the bracket. But the more wins he can rack up, the better. 2-1 is a great start.
Indeed.
Interestingly enough, Elpis will go to the right side of Gan's Tower first. But he's going to come back to the left side doing the Dark Magician strat. And we are joined by Solski. Solski, GG, nice race.
If you want to call it that, sure. I'll just get one comment out of the way now. I don't think I've ever been that unlucky in about 450 races with my route. Awful.
Certainly some really challenging things going on here with this seed. I mean, the book, the bow. I mean, I don't even know where to start.
Well, the book was the real gatekeeper for me. Pretty much blocked go mode and the rest of the progression towards the game. I was looking for either Kane or bow to lead to the other, and I just couldn't find it until it was like getting down to a pod Eastern combo. I was like, oh god, how early did Elpis go there? And then sure enough, it led to book and red Kane. I was like, it's not too bad.
That being said, though, you did end up finding all these things. Pretty much everything between you and Elpis was very similar in terms of, what was keeping you guys held up. Although Elpis did find the Titan's mitts and boots long before you did. So for a while there, we thought that, you were a little behind, but your dungeon progression and the choice to kill Mothula ended up paying off big time. He still has not found a tempered sword.
Ouch. Well, the only locations I didn't check were Pedestal, Vitreous, and I think that's it, and Tile Room. So, yeah, that's where your swords are going to be, guys.
What did we have on Pedestal again, Tara? Do you remember?
Nothing.
Oh, yeah, it was the Bug Net of Destiny.
Nothing.
Gotcha.
Also known as nothing.
So
Awesome.
yeah, that was it was something, that's for sure.
Well, I'm sure you feel great after that, though, with the 2-1 you're advancing to. This is really important for your tournament destiny. So as far as your next week matchup goes, you got a whole week at this point to watch some randomizer. Are you keeping an eye out for anyone in particular, hoping not to see?
Not really. Just gonna be looking towards my round 3 opponent, whoever that may be. So far it's been a lot of fun tournament. So sorry, round 4, I guess we're in. Wow, this tournament's already going pretty quick.
Yep, it's gonna be me and you're gonna lose.
Not if I lose first.
No, it's gonna be me and Terran. I'm gonna win. It's okay.
No, you're gonna lose.
No, I'm gonna win.
No,
Shots
you're
fired,
gonna
folks.
lose.
Shots fired. But if you want to catch that kind of race, I'm sure you'll probably catch it here on one of the speed gaming channels or Link to the Past Randomizer. As you folks have already seen today, this is a great show that our runners put on for us. I do encourage all of you to follow them. They have plenty of randomizer content, and I imagine based on what I saw from your profile, Solski, you also play Doom as well. Is that right?
Used to many moons ago.
Well, I'm always a fan of that. So there's plenty of content that both of these runners will be putting on throughout this tournament and, of course, beyond. I do encourage you guys to give them a follow. In the meantime, though, Solski, this is a great position for you to be in for the tournament. Now, I have to think, Ter does have to win his match this week in order to face off against you. Isn't that right?
Yes, he does. He's who's he facing again? Futon?
Brewers fan JP.
All right, so I'm gonna coach Brewers fan so he can beat you, so I can face you next week.
So you're saying there's a chance. That's all right. It's definitely not going to be me. I'm probably going 0-3 after this week. Well, it's definitely a privilege to watch this victory for you today, though, Solski. You did really well through a lot of segments of the game. I mean, the routing, kind of the thing that was frustrating both of you guys. Overall, though, your execution looked great all throughout the run. Taylor probably has some opinions on that, though. He hasn't shared them yet. Some choices we made, like in Aghanim's Tower.
Yeah, you wasted here and there time, like using Aether instead of Fire Rod, slashing after finding the boots. Not good.
Not good. I mean, that was probably the more frustrating part in the sea was I already wrote it like basically all of Overworld that I could have, minus the Mirror and Titans, and then sure enough, Boots were in Sash Cave, like the one place I didn't want them to be. So it was spectacular. And then of course the diorama I put on at my good old friend Stumpy.
Yeah, why did you bomb your best friend?
You know what? You guys know why I bombed him. I don't need to go back into detail.
No, go in detail. I don't know.
Me neither. I mean,
Just
I think the
kidding.
important thing is Tyr knows.
all right, I am excluded from this one. No problem.
But hey, I'm still waiting for the Quake at Sank Chest Tears. So just saying.
Yeah. Thank
Well,
you.
Pinocchio wasn't too friendly to you today, but you did show him what for.
But
Now,
yeah,
I'm
still,
interested in how many items you collected in total, though. You guys almost cleared everything.
yeah, like I said, it was 3 chests remaining. Tower Room, Vidi, and what was it, pedestals. So I might not have like over 200 item count, but it probably will be close. Just because you like scout items, but you never grab them like checkerboard or race game.
And it also counts key locations, if I recall correctly.
I believe so.
So I think there might have been like maybe 1 key in Ice Palace or something as well. Honestly, hard to remember at this point. I mean, it was nuts to see you guys go into go mode after 145.
Yeah, 58-minute boots.
And Elpis did have him for quite a while before then, actually.
I think that's just crazy that we're down to 3 locations and he's still on Master Sword though. Like that's how this seed was. I almost say that was the difference, was me getting tempered at this point. It's so early.
I mean, looking at it though, I mean, it is a difference of Ganon's Tower. That doesn't sound too off to me. I mean, I know the temper does save a lot of time, and to do just Master Sword Trinex, I mean, that alone is a waste. But let alone, every other dungeon that you did afterwards, you did get that very early.
Right.
I want to ask you, what was going through your mind then? I mean, deciding to go through Moth. I mean, I know there's an item left, but that was a heck of a gamble. It was a pedestal, or it was a pendant.
So the point was just a rider's advantage at that point because I decided to sequence break Death Mountain and I got the Fire Rod. And then when I found the flute in Skull, I realized, well, great, I just avoided a potential double dip. Might as well follow through. And that's kind of why I just decided to full clear look for that second item.
So I think the lesson to be learned from that is if you have a chance to benefit from a sequence break, you should really go full deep with it.
Yes and no. It was more because it got us back in a sequence with the flute, so it just was it was really nice to already be there and then say, hey, I can just, finish this now and turn it into a sword, which was great. I was really happy actually finding the tempered sword there.
Well, that is the reason that Taylor makes for a better coach than I do, so I'll leave that one to him.
What?
Oh, just talking about the logic behind finishing off Mothula.
Oh, okay. Waste of time.
So do you have any plans, Solski, to practice in the next week? I mean, how are you going to get ready for your next match?
Just the usual stuff during tournaments. I actually don't race that much or practice that much. I feel like it just gets me too amped up, so I kind of just go with the flow and, do a race here and there with some friends and then maybe light practice at best. And then just wait and see who my opponent is and go from there. It's not really a whole preparation.
Okay.
Well, I think
Sounds
that's about everything I have for you. Terry, do you have any questions to ask of Solski here?
No, never.
Wow.
That's okay. I'm used to it with Terror.
Someday I hope to have the dry humor that he does, but I am still impressed. Oh, wow, there's that sword. So in Mini Helmasaur room, right before Moldorm 2.
That's right. I didn't check those chests.
Yeah.
Free tempered.
That's a fantastic find for Elpis here. So best case scenario has no extra keys here. I mean, I'm relieved to see that for Elpis. I'm almost surprised that you didn't check that though. I mean, you checked the ones in Moldorm 2 and after Moldorm 2.
Yeah, at that point I was just trying to pump up my item count because I really wanted to get it over 200. Because I'm like, okay, I just tundoed, so I might as well get it as high as I can.
Also, I was very happy to see that we had a vanilla Big 20 after Moldorm 2. That always feels nice.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Too bad I didn't get my 30 minutes back in that chest. That would have been even better. In the looking for Bo and Kane.
Yeah, our hearts nearly stopped when you're checking those tablets because otherwise it would have been pedestal.
No.
I was actually hoping it was pedestal, but at that point, just because I was so committed on the pendants. But that's where I was kind of maybe a little worried. But luckily, we still were able to pull it out.
And you would have ended up further ahead because of that if that had happened.
That was the hope, yes. Like I said, just because I was, if there was an earlier Eastern dip, they had that red cane, I was like, well, I'm in trouble, so.
Well, the good news, though, for Elpis is that he is walking into Ganon right now, having finished up Aghanim 2 in a 4 cycle, it looked like. I'm doing pretty well with that. Should be able to get a pretty clean Ganon kill at this point. He does have red mail. Definitely want everybody in chat to cheer him on, though. This is still a relatively close finish for everything else considered. I mean, about 15 to 16, 17 minutes or so for what this seed gave us. I'm actually pretty impressed by that difference. I think if Elpis had made a couple of different decisions, maybe with the Skull Woods, we might have seen a much closer match here. We're going to get Cape Strats here for the second phase of Aghanim. Wise strategy to use here. He's got plenty of magic to work with. Oh, yeah, Chad making another interesting point I wanted to ask you about, Solski, or at least mention to you so you know. Elpis was actually in Eastern very early, but he did not actually do the Dark Room to get that book.
Yeah, that probably saved me from the loss, I would say, because it's just available so early, especially if you make that play to Eastern, and just being able a number of times being able to route in that ether tablet for the red cane. I would imagine the second time with Titans and everything, you'd be able to tear off your bow. It would have been a much kinder seed.
Yeah, so he's probably gonna be a little frustrated when he finds that out. That that was really what Oh, he already knows that, but he is finishing up Ganon now. He's gonna pump these last 2 silver arrows into him, and this will be it for him. So, Elpis here is going to finish just around 2:21. Get an official SRTV time here in a moment. And as he walks into the Triforce room, he's going to finish with an official speed racing TV time of 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 56 seconds. GG.
GG.
Now, I'm sure he probably has some words for us, but he may decline that interview. I don't know. That being said, though, folks, please wish them a GG. This is a very exciting race to watch. You guys have put on a fantastic show for us today. And it looks like we are joined by ElpisTK31. GG, Elpis. Nice race.
Thanks. I thought it was a pretty bad game, though. I did pretty poorly, and yeah, it was just like the lamp being in ice battles that really messed me up. Like I wanted to get the mirror as soon as possible, but it's just like, where is the lamp? And it completely threw me off.
Yeah, this whole seed, gigantic troll. We were just talking with Solski, who is in the voice channel with us, about this race, which was kind of crazy. The bow and the book and everything was in strange places. And of course, you found out late on in the race that that book was available to you pretty early on if you had done a dark room. How do you feel about that? I mean, that's got to be a pretty rough, moment in your run.
I completely forgot I got the book there. But yeah, that was like, oh man, I could have darkroomed that. And then it was like, oh man, it was like this entire seed was just like, it started off okay, like I thought I knew what I was doing, and then it was like, and it was just gone. And I was just like trying to ride the wave because that's all I was able to do. I even dipped Meyer because I was like, you know what, YOLO, let's just go into this dungeon and see if you can get something useful. And it was total bust.
As it turns out, both of you went into Meyer, so that wasn't actually a time loss for you. But I mean, yeah, otherwise it was a bust pretty much. Ice Palace was dense though.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of places that you didn't check, so I'll leave it to you to guess. Where do you think that last sword was?
Well, okay. I don't even know like what locations I didn't check. So that's kind of hard for me to guess. So like in Skullwoods?
You got it. It was on Mothula. So that actually, I think, was one of the bigger choices that Solski made that helped them. I think, with the book probably was the worst thing that happened to your run. Because both of you guys ended up finding it later in the run. But that ended up being more of an advantage for Solski, who had tempered for quite a lot longer than you. He did not find that gold sword, though. Those are like the only 2 chests he didn't check in Gan's Tower, besides like Tile Room and like one other.
Yeah, well, I figured I'd check everything since I don't like doing Ganon with Master Sword, even though I have silvers. So I was like, yeah, I'll just check everything now. Who cares? But yeah, I can see why someone would skip that.
Well, all in all, it was a very nice privilege to watch this match. Both of you guys put on a fantastic show and made some really interesting decisions that gave us opportunities to talk about a lot of things here in Randomizer. So I just want to be the first one to extend a thank you for this match. It was a privilege to commentate. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for commentating. I'll be sure to watch the restream. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope other people enjoyed the run as well.
Well, on that note, we will follow the 1 and 2 in the tournament. What are you planning on doing to prepare for next week? Because, I mean, this next week's going to matter a lot.
Me? I'm prepare? What's preparing? I mean, I've only been playing for 2 months. This is my 40th seed I've ever played. So my preparation isn't really up there, you know. I just joined this tournament because my good friend Kles Hayabusa, he is really hyped on this game. So I was like, okay, I'll join you.
Well, that's always nice to hear that friends get each other into this game. I'm happy to hear that. I always want as many people to be playing ALTTP in any form. So one thing that folks out there, you know, if you haven't played the randomizer yet, please give it a chance. It is absolutely worth the experience. Now, our runners may have a different feeling about today's seed, but generally speaking, you know, you're going to have a lot of fun playing this. With that, though, I'm a little shy on other questions to ask of you. Elpis, anything you'd like to say to your fans out there?
I wanted to do an interview on the previous match I did because there was one big thing, and I got the flute in Hookshot Cave, and I just left. I didn't even check those other 3 chests, and that was just like a bet. Like there was it paid out really nicely, but it must look like really crazy. Just skip 3 chests that are there. And thanks for watching. Yeah, that's basically it.
No worries. I'm glad I gave you an opportunity to make up for last time. Didn't realize that, so crazy random happenstance. I love that. Well, folks, you know, while we're letting the last of this credits play out for, of course, verification for the seed, another reminder, of course, always to follow these runners, but most importantly, to follow the rest of you know, Speed Gaming and ALTTPR Randomizer if you want to, you know, see all of this tournament. We're only in the 3rd week of Swiss, and not only that, but we have an entire elimination bracket. We're cutting down from 512 entrants to half of that, and then even more so. So lots of exciting randomizer to watch. Plenty of other tournaments on these channels. Tara, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No.
Succinctly put. So with that, I've been Unamanistic. I've been joined by Ter from everybody here at Speed Gaming. I also want to thank the community and everybody in the background getting things done. We don't get as much high-profile exposure for that, but very appreciated. But from everybody here at Speed Gaming, thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you next time. There are a lot of races left today, but in the meantime, see you guys later. Have a great day, and see you next mission.